Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for today, I will be doing another sit-down video and I will be talking to you about research. So I am already a college student and I have been through a lot of researches already from my grade 10 years until my senior high school years. So today, I want to share to you what are the things that our group did, in order to achieve a good research. So I would like also to acknowledge Sir Nell for telling me to do a content like this, because a lot of students, especially senior high school students, are not yet well informed about what researches is, because it is really different to teach research in a face-to-face classroom and in a modular learning. So if you want to know more about the tips and things that you can do to do a good research and to have a good research topic, continue to watch this video until the end, because I will be sharing to you some titles or some topics that you could consider making in your senior high school researches. So watch this video.
My life be like, yeah. My life be like,
So first things first, what is a research? So a research is basically a systematic investigation on things, or on things that you want answers with. So a research is basically using other resources, other modes of references in order to create new knowledge or to create a new learning. So basically, in doing a research, you are trying to create another fact or another knowledge, or maybe support an existing one. So that's what research is. So there are two types of researches. We have qualitative research and quantitative research. For qualitative research, we talk about the non-numerical data. We analyze non-numerical data such as texts, we analyze videos, we analyze audio clips, we analyze maybe short clips from movies, or we read journals, or we read literatures of other people. So that's qualitative research. But when we talk about quantitative research, it talks about numerical data. So it means that we are talking about numbers. For example, we are talking about how frequent students go to school late. So we are going to use quantitative research to determine the frequency of why they are late, to determine the frequency of how many students are late in schools. So for today, let's focus first on quantitative research. So quantitative research, as I have said, are those non-numerical data. So the first thing that you have to do when picking the research topic of a quantitative research, first thing you have to do is to brainstorm. So I think in most researches of senior high students, you are grouped into maybe 5 or 6 people. So the first thing you have to do is to brainstorm. What I mean with brainstorm is to look for the things that you question. For example, why are the trees green? Why are the teachers' teaching style very different? Why is modular learning different from face-to-face classes? So things like that, you can really talk about anything that you question about, things that you like, things that interest you. You may be interested in healthcare. You may be interested in sciences, in chemistry, in biology. So that's the first thing you have to do. You have to brainstorm with your group. So by doing brainstorms, you will be able to come up with something that all of you love to do, or all of you are interested in. So for the whole video, I'm going to set our research as an example. So our quantitative research back then was entitled "The Impact of English-Based Multimedia to the Level of Proficiency in Speaking of the Senior High Students of Holy Cross High School." So it's a very lengthy title or lengthy topic, but it's not really hard to do, because what we are talking about only is the impact of English-based multimedia. So what we did with the brainstorm was, we asked ourselves, why are some of our classmates so good in speaking English? They are so fluent with the language. Yet some of us are not so good at it. We can speak it, but not as fluent as the others. So that was our question with our brainstorm. So the second step that we did was we developed a question. And our question that time was, what is the level of proficiency of speaking of the senior high school students? So we asked, how good are they with speaking in English? Are they really good or are they just good? So that's the first thing we asked. So by that question, we were getting more curious of our topic. We were getting more curious about our title because we wanted to really know why they are good with speaking and some of us are not really that good. So by that alone, all of us were getting the same interest. So all of us were working together to achieve our goal. So after the second step of developing the question, we created an outline. So what I mean with an outline is we list the things that we want to put on the research. For example, what research design should we use? Should we use simple random sampling? Should we choose just random people or should we only choose one section? Those things, for example, like what will we do with our data? Will we consider having surveys? Will we consider doing one-on-one interviews? So those are the things that you have to outline in order for you to know your track. So by doing the outline and by doing the questions, you're able to understand your topic even more because you are getting even more curious of the final result of your research. The next thing that you will do is to find the RRL. So the RRL is the review of related literature or the review of related studies. So in this part of the research, you are going to look for other researches, look for other literatures, maybe journals, maybe videos that are also about what topic you are talking about. So like in our research, the impact of English-based multimedia, it was so hard to find other related researches because we were specific on the speaking skills. We did not generalize the topic. So finding it was hard, but with the help of other sources and other references, we were able to find some. So here are the sources that you can visit. Here are some sites that you can visit which offer sources that are reliable and you can really get something from it, and some has already written their references, so it will be easy for you to copy and paste the references. So what do you do with the review of related literature? So the first thing you do is to start with the introduction. So what you do in the introduction is, why is this study related to ours? Why is the concept of this study the same with ours? So you have to interconnect the study and your study. So when we talk about the impact of English-based multimedia, I have to relate it with the related literature that I found. So maybe I will put them. According to blah 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 in 2016, it has also been said that the English-based multimedia has a great impact for the level of proficiency of speaking to the students. So by that alone, you already have a good RRL because you are using a reliable source, and of course you are citing the authors properly, because citation is really important in researches. There are a lot of types of citations and it can differ on whatever preference your teacher wants. The next thing you do after doing the introduction is to read the whole literature. Maybe not the whole literature, but read the abstract maybe, or read the conclusion part if you have the same data or you have the same analysis. So after reading the literature, you will be able to acquire new knowledge. Maybe you will acquire that English-based multimedia, I can also improve the level of proficiency in writing. So you can really identify a lot of new ideas with the RRLs. So with that, you will be able to find it easier to find more related literatures. So the next thing you do is you analyze. You analyze if the data given by the other researchers about this topic, does it relate to my data? Does it relate to what I do? For example, we found a review of related literature about the English-based multimedia's effect to the students' speaking ability. So we really found a study that was really the same as ours. So they were using a table that identifies if the student is proficient in speaking or not. Included to na if 70 to 80% ang reading ability, he is good in speaking. So things like that. So what we did, it is we used those methodology, we used their method in doing our study, because we had the same study and we properly put the citation in our study. So by that, it was easier for us to do the study. We did not have a hard time in doing the methodology because we already had our guide. So by that, we can also put it in the review of related literature because it can support our final result. What do you mean with support? It means that it will be able to make your research a reliable one for the future researchers that would want to study or support what you are studying. So those are the things that you do with RRL. It really is hard to find RRLs, especially when we do not have so much time in reading, when we do not do so much on searching the internet. But we should also consider that RRLs are very good for our research because it helps it to become reliable, it helps it to become very understandable in a way that your research is supporting another research and making the facts, the new facts and knowledge that you created into another new problem. So in creating the RRLs, it is not really good to copy what the literature is saying because that is already plagiarism. You are not having originality of your paper. So what you have to do is just you rephrase what they are talking about, or maybe you explain it in your own words because it will be better that way. And it will be more understandable for you because you're not really pleasing others for your research. You are giving the satisfaction to yourself for answering your questions. So let us now move on to the quantitative research. So in quantitative research, as I have mentioned, we use numbers to explain our data. So during our time, in our high school year, our senior high school years, our group, we studied about lichens, those white things on the trees, white or green things on the trees that you see, lichens as bioindicators of air pollution. So why did we come up with the idea? So the same as what we did, the same as I have mentioned with the qualitative research, we first did a brainstorm. And we talked about what are the things that we love. So all of us, I think all of us were considering science. So what specific thing about science should we study? So we roam around the campus in our school, and I can still remember we were going all around the school to look at things that we were curious about. But one thing that came up to our mind was those white spots on the trees. So we were so curious about it. We even asked our teacher, what are those for? Do they have value to the community? Does it help the trees grow even more? We were so curious at the time. So we asked our teacher, and he told us that it can be a bioindicator. So we did our research. Before we did the topic or the title and the research questions, we dig into the review of related literature because, as I have said, the RRL is very important. So we have to do that first. We research about researches that we're also talking about lichens as a bioindicator to air pollution. So we found something. We found a good research and we were so happy with it because even if we only have one source, it was very reliable. So what we did again was we used the same method they did to analyze the data they have gathered. So by that, we were able to brainstorm. We were able to generate a question on why lichens are used as bioindicators to air pollution, and we were able to develop an outline. We were able to develop something that we were curious about. We were all very interested about it. So that's how we made it good or how we made our research very reliable. So the same with the quantitative research works that way too. It's just that we are not interviewing humans, we are not going to survey humans. Instead, we are going to analyze the data on the trees. We are going to determine the diameters of the lichens. We are going to determine the how many are they in one tree, what type of lichens are they, if there are a lot of family of lichens, so things like that. So those were all of our questions, and luckily in the end we were able to answer our questions. So we were able to answer that with the RRL. So I have been talking about the RRL all this time because it is very important. So we used the RRL as our main reference. We used it as our main goal, that whatever the result they had should be the same as ours. But the most important thing that you have to do is not to alter any data. Dili nimo i-change like, I want the result for it to be negative so that the school will choo like that. You don't have to do that because the research speaks for itself. It is reliable and it is based on reliable sources. That's what makes our research good and reliable. So having said everything, choosing a research topic or research title really takes time because there are really teachers who really want their students to be curious about something very specific or something very general. So it really depends on the teacher on what titles they want to approve to you. So you just have to be creative. You just have to keep questioning the surroundings, because by that way you will be able to find a good research. So supporting what I have said about picking the research titles, you also have to pick a really reliable RRL because it will help your study and it will help you make it easier to analyze the data and to explain the data, because you are using a reliable source to explain the data that you have gathered. So I hope you learned something from what I have been talking about. And with that, I want to share to you some of the topics or some of the titles that you can use in your researches that are reliable, that are maybe good, and you might be interested in. So I want to share to you both qualitative and quantitative researches that can be used for STEM students, UM students, ABM students. Yeah, just the three of them. So I will share it to you and I will flash it on the screen after I talk. So I hope you learned something from what I have been talking about. And if you have any questions about researches, if you have any questions about school or academics, or you want to have academic help, you can also visit my Facebook account and PM me on my Messenger, or you can PM me on my Instagram if you want to avail for my academic service. So I also help students in answering their modules, answering their researches, and helping them in their projects, because that is one way also of helping my fellow students to do good even during the pandemic. So that's it for my video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!